Hi everyone and welcome back. My name is OP and I'm going to talk about my experience with the WF-1000XM3s, which is a terrible name, and the AirPods Pro by Apple, which I'm sure we all know by now. So I'm going to talk about the size next, which has a clear winner. The Sonys are quite big. There's kind of like no other way to put it, and the AirPods are smaller. I think the Sonys are pretty much twice the size of the AirPods, and for day-to-day carry, this is actually an issue. I feel like I can carry my AirPods anywhere, anytime. I can just throw them in my pocket, even if I don't need to ever listen to music that day. But not the same for the Sony. I found that I had to kind of plan when I wanted to take my earphones out just because they're so big. So next up is charging. The Sony's use a USB-C cable, which is included in the box, and the AirPods use a Lightning cable, which is also included in the box. Funny enough, it's a USB-C to Lightning cable included in the AirPods Pro box. USB-C hasn't really taken off, but it's the better connector. So yeah. As far as battery life goes, the Sonys have an hour over, but at 5-6 hours, I don't think anyone is really listening to music 5-6 hours straight. So I think that's fine for most users. As you can probably guess, the AirPods are much faster at connecting, but I wouldn't say it's a big difference or a deal breaker. So I'm just gonna go over the Sony app real quick. First off, we have adaptive sound control, which basically tries to detect what you're doing. I'm currently sitting down, so it's just gonna say I'm not doing anything. I turned that off because it requires location, I think. Next is ambient sound control. So the Sonys can actually customize how much it's canceling the noise, which is really cool. Next is the equalizer. I don't really use. Do you want to pause your headphones when they're taken off? And a whole bunch of other nice to haves that Apple doesn't actually let you have. We're gonna go down a list real quick of what you can actually do with the touch sensitive tap. So next up are the AirPod settings. You can't really do anything if it's not connected, but once you connect it, you can go into Bluetooth settings, press the little I, and you have a bunch of options. Not as much as the Sony's, but you can change the name, you can change the mode from noise cancellation to transparency mode. You could change the buttons from noise control to Siri. You can do the ear tip fit test, which just tells you if you have a good seal or not. And then you can do automatic ear detection on or off. I'm not really sure why you would turn it off. And finally, you can change the microphone from using the left or the right or auto. Alright, so just some random final thoughts. I had a lot of problems with the Sonys. I was really rooting for them. But at the end of the day, I don't think I would keep them. The Bluetooth disconnected a lot, random stutters and dropouts for me, the app will crash, the case was too big. The case is really big, and I think I've mentioned this before, but the case is really big, and that stops me from taking the headphones out whenever I want to, because I don't really carry a bag anywhere, so it's not really an EDC kind of thing if you don't carry a bag. The sound quality probably slightly better with the Sonys. I can't really tell the difference, but a lot of instrumental testing has shown the sound quality is better. The noise canceling, to my surprise, I think it's actually better on the AirPods. Not a lot of people are probably going to agree with me, but it is what it is. You're probably not going to be able to tell a difference if you have both of them side by side, which I do. So now the Sonys are not water resistant, but I would probably use those to go to the gym versus the AirPods, because the AirPods don't really tuck into the ear. The Sonys do. The Sonys also come with a lot more tips for your ears, which Apple could have done. Transparency mode is done much better than ambient sound is done in the Sonys. And another thing that really annoyed me was every time the Sonys changed modes, it would tell me, which I didn't feel was very necessary. Ambient sound, noise canceling off, battery 100%. It kind of disturbed the flow of whatever I'm trying to listen to, and it became really annoying after a while. But by far, the biggest deal breaker for me was call quality. Um, I bought these mainly so that I don't have to hold my phone out to my ear. And the Sony's have absolutely terrible, terrible call quality. I'm gonna play some recordings just to kind of show you what I mean. But if you're trying to make any sort of calls on these earphones, then just save yourself the trouble and get AirPods.
Alright, AirPods Pro, let's test on two. A good coffee shop is an oasis for the creative mind. It's where you go to get away from bad habits and distractions of your home office. It's where you go to get your creativity flowing and to get some work done. Alright, so this is testing the WF-1000MX3s with the new firmware. I think it's 2.1 or something like that. A good coffee shop is an oasis for the creative mind. It's where you go get away from the bad habits and distractions of your home office. It's where you go to get your creativity flowing and to get some work done. So here's a test of the WF-1000MX3s. The noisy background currently at 18 volume on my computer and max up the cafe restaurant, coffee shop, background picture. A good coffee shop is an oasis for the creative mind. It's where you go get away from bad habits and distracting you with the office. It's where you go to get your creativity flowing to get some work done.
All right, I hope this has helped at least one person to make a decision. I think if you have an Android phone, the Sony's might be worth considering. If you have an iPhone, I think the AirPods Pro for the same price is better in almost all the ways. And this is, I have a lot of Sony products, so it's kind of sad to say this, but I think the AirPods kind of wins this one. Cool, thank you very much, and bye bye.